Howdy YouTube, Donovan here with my Sonic 1 Game Gear review. I've been working on this for quite a while and I've decided I don't want to do any more reviews, ever again. I thought it would be a lot easier to do a review of the game than Let's Play it, but trust me, it's not. Not only do I have to write the script, it takes a lot of time. And it doesn't help that I'm reviewing a game I don't know very well, because I only started playing Sonic 1 Game Gear like a few months ago. Enough about that though, let's start the review. Sonic 1 Game Gear released December 28, 1991, about 6 months after the original. I've already done a Let's Play on it, and before someone mentions it, yes, I'm aware that this game was originally a Master System title. For those of you who are not aware, the Master System was Sega's version of the NES. It was meant to compete with it. However, unlike the NES, it was a total flop. After the Genesis release in 1991, and Sonic 1 on Genesis was deemed a great game, Sega still did not want to abandon their old hardware, so they made another Sonic 1 for that old system. It's like how Mojang still develops Minecraft for Xbox 360, even though the Xbox One version still exists. A few months later, Sega released the Game Gear, an 8-bit handheld system that was meant to compete with the Game Boy, and they needed a Sonic game for that system. So instead of making a new one, they ported over the Master System version of Sonic 1. It's sort of like how Super Mario Bros. Deluxe is on the Game Boy Color, and it's really just Super Mario Bros. 1. Same concept. Except Sonic 1 on the Game Gear is literally the same thing as the Master System. There aren't any major differences, other than a smaller screen, of course. And that's how we got Sonic 1 Game Gear, the game we have today, which is not its official name. It's actually Sonic the Hedgehog, in all capital letters, just like the Genesis game and that other one. So what do we do in this version of Sonic 1? The same thing as the Genesis version. Control Sonic with the D-pad and use any button to jump, stop Dr. Robotnik and/or Eggman, and free the animals. Yay! There are some key differences though. The control is very different, and it's not unbearable, but it's kind of a pain, especially if you've played a lot of Sonic games. It's hard to get used to. Unlike the Genesis games, if you get hit and you lose rings, you do not get the opportunity to recover those rings. You get nothing. You are left with absolutely 0 rings, and I really don't like that, because one of the key differences between Mario and Sonic is that in Sonic, if you get hit, it's not as big of a punishment, therefore the enemies are not as threatening. The enemies are also significantly smaller due to the size of the Game Gear screen, but they are also the same size on the Master System version, so it's really not because of the Game Gear screen, it's just tiny enemies. Another difference is how the Chaos Emeralds work. Remember the special stages you had to get to in Sonic 1 on Genesis in order to get to the Emeralds? That's completely different in the way it works. Instead of getting the special stages, you actually have to hunt for emeralds inside each level. It's basically a giant scavenger hunt, except you are not told exactly what act each emerald is in. All you know is that 6 emeralds, 6 zones, so there's 1 in each zone. I was eventually able to find them all myself, but I recommend a walkthrough because some of those places are very obscure. Other than that, it's just another Sonic game. You might have noticed I'm only showing footage of the first level, Green Hill Zone. The reason being is because the other 5 levels are different than the last 5 levels in Sonic 1 Genesis. And I don't want to spoil it because it's kind of cool seeing how these are completely original zones. Except I should mention Labyrinth Zone and Scrap Brain Zone are also in the game. Scrap Brain Zone being the final zone, just like in Sonic 1 Genesis. So I'm just not going to spoil anything, even if the game is almost 25 years old. The soundtrack for the game is really, really good. Like, I'm not a fan of 8-bit music, but there isn't a song I can say, this song sucks. Shoutouts to the boss music for being super catchy, but I really wish Sonic 1 Game Gear would just get more remixes. People tend to ignore the music. I think that's one of the best parts of the game. So can I recommend Sonic 1 Game Gear? Yes I can. In fact, it's really cheap on the 3DS eShop. I think it was on sale a few weeks ago for under $5. That's when I got it. And I do recommend purchasing it, not emulating it, because unless you can get an emulator on your phone or your 3DS, if that's possible. That being said, expect me to start my Let's Play on Sonic 2 for the Sega Genesis very soon. Yes, I'm skipping Sonic 2 Game Gear because that game is insanely difficult. Don't expect me to play it on the internet because it sucks. So now I will leave you with this commercial from Sega in case if you still don't know what the Game Gear is. Toodles!
Whoa. Color.
Hey, there's an easier way to get color. Get a Game Gear, the full color portable with over 150 games, like the new Echo, Mortal 2, and Sonic Triple Trouble.
So even though Sonic 2 Genesis is what's next for the Sonic series, that's not the next Let's Play I have planned. In fact, I think you guys are going to like it.